And welcome to Impact 2023, our continuing conversation where we talk about all different types of issues from race, religion, current events, everything that you can think of in this safe place where we can have open conversation. And as always, we ask that you type your questions or your comments into the comment section so that you can participate in the conversation, making sure that it's not just me talking, but it's a conversation and your opportunity to provide your input and your feedback. And so, again, put your comments in the comment section and they will be addressed as they come up. All right. Well, as always, let's hop into the conversation. This is a current event. This is religion. It's all mixed in. If you've been paying attention to some of the news that's been going on in the space of Catholicism, you would have seen that the Pope has been doing some significant things. He's been sitting down some of the leadership, some of the cardinals who have kind of strayed away from Catholic teachings and have gotten more political leanings and things like that. So that's one of the items that he did. But that was recently that came out was that the Pope made a decree that it is now allowed for same-sex couples to be blessed or to receive a blessing. And that's our topic. How do we feel about that? Well, I was talking to some folk about it, and they had some ideas, and I've seen online and seen in other places where some people have been talking about it, and they've had some ideas, thinking, having some negative thoughts toward it as far as, like this Pope is starting to go against the Bible, go against the Word of God, and other things like that. Well, when I looked at this, and again, I'm not Catholic, so I don't know the true extent of what a blessing is. But from my little bit of looking over and research, what I said to others that I saw, and my response to others is, well, it's not the same thing as blessing marriage. So it's not sitting back saying, okay, well, you have a same-sex couple, we're going to bless their marriage. It's different. And so I think that's some of the understanding that people needed to know first is that, some people were like, oh man, that's same-sex marriage. Well, if you want to be upset, but know that those aren't the same things. Just you're getting blessing and, performing your marriage or accepting your marriage is two different things. And so if you were excited and saying, oh man, now, same-sex marriage is recognized and it's great and blah, 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 wasn't saying that either. So you have to be clear on what's being said. It's a blessing. And so, looking at other people in their discussions and talking to some folk, one of my things was, okay, well, look, if there is a couple and they're both in a profession where they lie a lot, where they lie all the time, basically, they are liars because it's a profession. It's what they do. They lie. Would you be upset if the Pope gave that couple a blessing? If it was a couple where you got a husband and a wife, and the husband is beating on the wife, are you going to be upset if they give that couple a blessing? And I kind of go down the list, and you say, all right, you got these people, you got a couple, both of them are convicted of robbery, and they've robbed a lot, multiple times. They've been convicted of robbery. They've gone to jail. They've done all of this kind of stuff. Would you be upset if they got a blessing? And so, from my standpoint, the question was, out of all the people who need blessings, it's the people who need blessings. All the people, I know it's kind of funny, out of all the people who need blessings, it's the people who need blessings. And you need blessings because you're not perfect. You need blessings because you want to be blessed, or you desire to be blessed, or you desire to be better, or for whatever reason. And so if people who are flawed are getting blessed, then wouldn't you think, if you feel like same-sex couples are flawed, wouldn't you be happy that they would be getting a blessing as well? And so, we have a comment. The Roman Catholic Church still does not recognize same-sex marriages, and that was, I think that's the key. There's that was the key point. There is a difference between marriage and blessings, and so again, blessing someone is not marrying them. Blessing someone is so it's different. So for the person who is avidly against same-sex marriages and doesn't want to recognize that. Getting them a blessing is not the same, and as a result, you can that group who. So if you have multiple groups, if you have a group who is hardline, against same-sex couples, same-sex marriage, that group can be pacified in the feeling of, hey, it's same-sex marriage is still not recognized. If you're in the group of that should be recognized and you're hardline there, well, you didn't get marriage recognized, but you were able to get a blessing. So I think what the Pope did, kind of fits both sides. He's kind of bringing people together a little bit more. But my understanding of a blessing, and again, I'm not Catholic. I really don't understand it fully. Looked at it, but didn't go into deep researching into the background. Is that the blessing is not sanctioning the marriage, but a blessing is basically that I'm putting a blessing over these people as they go forth, and so everyone needs that. Everyone should desire that, and I feel like that will bring you. That can bring you to a different place in your life. So for the couple who are out here and they're thieves, you would hope you would get your blessing, and you would hope that you would have some kind of focus that you want to get yourself closer to God and further away from those activities that don't represent Christian values. Same thing for the couple who would be, their profession has them lying all the time, has them deceiving people all the time. You would hope that on their journey, they would get a little bit closer and get a little further away from the deception and the lies, and a little bit closer to walking more like the instruction that we were given. And so as much as people get up, because, I saw it, there were people up in arms. As much as you see some people up in arms, I think the conversation should go to whether or not do sinners need to get blessed. We look into the Bible, and we always quote scripture. We talk about what Jesus says. We give all of these examples about, I came to heal the sick. A doctor works on the sick. The patients are sick. If you were healed and perfect, then you don't need healing. A person who wasn't sick doesn't need a doctor. And we always talk about those type of examples. Well, when it comes to blessings and other things like that, it's the same thing, I think. All of us need them. Whatever our flaw may be, or whatever you may consider our flaw to be clear, because people have different opinions. And so when I talk to other people, when I was talking and having those conversations, I applaud where the Pope is going. I applaud some of the moves that are made. And I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. I am not Catholic. But to be able to, there's different issues and different things going on and different people that need to be talked to be able to talk to them and address their issues and start a conversation, I think is always the best move. I don't have to validate what you do. I don't have to accept what you do. I don't have to participate in what you do, but I can still give you an opportunity to come into the door, an opportunity to have that discussion. None of us are perfect. And if it was that way, we'd all be in trouble. Comment. One of the problems we have in today's climate is that people are unreasonably intolerant. If they disagree with one's aspect of a person's view or life, they dismiss the person totally. Yeah. out there in the common terms, they're talking about how polar opposite we are. We're so polarized on one side or the other, or this side or that side. It's the same thing. And when we get polarized and separated, then we get intolerant of other people's opinions and thoughts. Look, no one is going to think exactly like you, and nor should they have to. For you to respect them and to be able to kind of work together, especially in the bigger the tent or the bigger the place, the more variety of views and opinions you're going to have. And I think that is one of the larger problems that we have. And in the church, we've different churches have had that problem, ridiculous amount of that problem over the years. And I think it's a moment, or these past few years have been moments that we have to reevaluate what we do. Let's stop trying to fake and look like we're perfect, and realize that we're not. And then let's stop trying to push people away because they're not perfect when we're not perfect and no one is perfect. If people have a different lifestyle and a different view, it's not a time to push them away. It's a time to have a conversation and listen. And I think that is where we've gotten to. And so when people see little things like what the Pope is doing and saying, okay, well, we can bless these people, or we can bring these people, we can have these people have a conversation, and others get so upset. I can't believe you would do that. I don't even want to talk to these people. I don't want to respect these people. I don't want to have a conversation with these people. I think that's problematic, and that's what we're being taught. That's the common that's more the common way to do things nowadays. Is if someone is different from you, if someone doesn't agree with you, then just dismiss them, dismiss their opinions, dismiss who they are. But you can ultimately dismiss who someone is. I know that sounds weird. You can ultimately, after you've had conversations and try to find common ground and have gone through a process, and then if you come to a point where the two of you don't mesh, or if you come to a point where it's so bad that you cannot get together, then there can be some separation where you dismiss and say, look, this is not. But we don't even do the work there. We're just dismissing people off of the idea of who they are or the idea of what they do. And we don't even try to have the conversation and to come together. And so when people get so upset because they hear, one part of what the Pope has said, what's the ultimate goal? What's the plan here? What's the benefit here? Who does this help? I think that is where we need to get to a little bit more when we have these conversations. And I understand, people are going to feel the way they feel. Well, this is a violation of the Bible, and this, that, and that. Well, let's have that conversation and let's see where it's at. Instead of just jumping there and thinking that we are the authority, all of us are individually the authority. Let's have these conversations. Let's see what's going on. Let's wrestle with what needs to be done with the next steps. Because I can assure you that people in those positions, like the Pope, wrestled with that, prayed upon that, deliberated upon that with others. And so then we quickly come back and we pass judgment and we say, well, this is right, this is wrong, this person is good, this person is bad. A little too quick there. The Pope is keeping the door open for redemption or a change of heart. This change of heart is on both sides of an issue. There we go. There we go. I think that's ultimately what it is. It's the opposite of what the comment was earlier. We are now unreasonable and we are intolerant. And what our job is to do is to keep the door open. And that's what the Pope is doing for any kind of change. And so I don't know who has these conversations and who are talking to others about this, or who's even keeping track and watching this. But I do think this is an example, and based on these comments, keeping the door open for a change of heart is an example of what we have to do in our personal lives. We have to keep the door open. To people who we agree with and disagree with. And I know it's a tough one. People who we like and don't like. All of this is tough. It's not easy to do. We need to be able to keep the door open, keep the dialogue open, keep the opportunity open. Because if you think that you're right, then it's always going to be opportunity for them to change or opportunities for them to come towards your position. If you think you're right and you're actually wrong, which many of us are, Keeping that door open is an opportunity for us to eventually change and us to eventually get to where we need to be. But that door goes both ways. We need to keep the door open because they may be right. They need to keep the door open because we may be right. And that's what the Pope is doing. He's keeping that door open and keeping that opportunity for people to have their relationship, have their relationship with God, have their relationship with their church, continue to have relationships with family and friends, and they can come to different conclusions. And if ultimately that conclusion is I want to walk the way that the Bible instructs me to walk, well, then the Pope was successful in bringing them to a place where they needed to be. All of us can't be perfect on day one, but we always need that door to be open and the opportunity. And I think that's what the Pope is doing. And I think that's what the comment that you're saying here is. Keep the door open. I'm saying that, and then all of a sudden in the back of my head is that song, I'm gonna leave the door open. But that's what it is. Leave the door open. That's what we need to continuously do. And I think that's what the Pope is saying here. And that's the conversation piece to have. And so going forward, when you have this conversation, or if these kind of topics pop up, or even if something else happens where somebody is reaching out to some folk that you really don't mess with, or, just remember that I think right here is keeping that door open. Did not Jesus keep the door open for the woman caught in an adulterous relationship? And what about the woman at the well? How about the two thieves on the cross? Yeah, that's a good one. Time after time after time, Jesus allowed for opportunity for redemption, or left the door open for redemption, or not necessarily that you had to go through it. Because as much as we hear about the certain people in the Bible who went through the opportunity, in my imagination, I imagine that there was a lot of other people who he left the door open for, who decided not to go through it. So for every success story that you're going to have plenty of opportunity for people who change their mind, or hearts stay hard and they don't want to go through the door. It's not our job to determine who can go through and who doesn't. It's just to leave it open. And so if Jesus is giving that example, then we got to definitely do what he did. We got to definitely follow the example of what's in the Word. That's a good one. And so that appears to me that's what the Pope is doing. It appears to me that's what this particular issue is. And some of the other things that he's doing, it's let me give the opportunity for people to join us, to, if they've slipped, for redemption. If they are interested, they can, find out more. If they're not interested, when they get ready and they are interested, that door will be wide open and they can peek in to see, hey man, is this something I want to do? Or do I want to live a little differently? Do I want to, change up? I see what they're doing, and So yeah, I don't think we can call ourselves people who are out here trying to be a light if we close the door so they can't see our light. So that's a good one. I really like that quote. Oh, well, this quote. I really like this comment here. It's giving it that example that we need to have. All right. Well, that was it. We're actually, that was pretty quick and, kind of early. Less dialogue when we do not have a guest, but hopefully we'll return to that next week. But take the opportunity to, if you can, everyone who is out here, please take the opportunity to keep abreast of what the Pope is doing. Not that, not that you have to be Catholic or anything, but to watch the developments that are going on, and the understanding and the wrestling with the issues of the day that are going on within the Catholic Church, a large organization. Sometimes that gives us insight to some of the things that we should be talking about, or we should be doing. Are we doing the right thing? Are we discussing the right things? Are we discussing some of the topics that's going on? And they have a lot of different change there. Even with other churches, Methodist Church is having a major change right now. So I encourage you to kind of keep your eye open to what some other groups are doing. Because if they're talking about these issues, if they're dealing with these issues, if they're wrestling with issues, maybe we should be wrestling with them too. Or maybe those issues are coming our way. Or maybe it's just something that you should be thinking about. So I definitely encourage everyone to just keep your eyes open towards what some of the other groups are doing. We call ourselves Christians, which means to be Christians, Christ-like. If Christ remains open, we need to remain open. Yeah, that's it. It's right there. I totally agree with this comment. If Christ is going to be open, we need to be open. You know, if Christ is constantly going to, you see him in the Bible, you constantly find him amongst those who need him. He finds himself amongst those who need help and need change. That we need to make sure that we keep ourselves open and we find ourselves amongst those who need Christ. You know, if everyone in the church is saved, then how are we being like Christ and being amongst those and bringing other people to Christ if everybody who we already see is saved? We're only waiting for people to have babies and so we can try to save them. That's not. I don't think that's the way to go. So yeah, I think that's it. That's the playbook. That's the example that we need to follow, and it's harder to do than it seems. It is difficult sometimes for us to be around people who we don't agree with, who we don't like, who we don't respect their decisions as much, who we question their thought process. It's difficult. Let's not lie to ourselves. It's not an easy thing to be around people who might get on your nerves because of their foolishness. And in your thought process, you're thinking, man, these people are foolish. And so sometimes it's hard to be around them. And so that's the task. Anything that we do I think as Christians, anything that we do in the church, you know, if it's super, super easy, then we're probably not doing it to the fullness. You know, most of this stuff is work. And, you know, we call ourselves, like this comment says, we call ourselves Christians, which means we're Christ-like. Christ remains open. We need to remain open. That is work. It's work. And so we need to do it. All right. Waiting to see if another comment will come in, but not. All right. Well, I appreciate the comments that came in. You know, a nice current event topic to really go in. And I hope that if anybody didn't see what was going on, I hope that gave you an opportunity to see something or think about something that's current, that's going on that you may not have already known about. All right. Just as a reminder, on Thursdays, Thursday Thirst at 7 o'clock right here, Facebook and YouTube. Sundays at 10 o'clock, Facebook and YouTube. We have worship service. We have a good time. If you are in the area, feel free to come by to the address. Otherwise, Facebook and YouTube, and you can join us. And then on today, Tuesdays, 7 o'clock, we have prayer, 7 to 7:45. If you want to leave your prayer request, please feel free on the at the phone address right there. And of course, at 8 on Tuesdays, we have Impact 2023. Just as a quick shout out or call out, look down and you can see our website. Some of our information is different. Our email address. Feel free to contact us. Please do. All right. So I want to thank everybody for showing up. Questions and comments, and please feel free to join us again. Thanks.